Yes, guys, so today is Sunday the 5th of July. Got a pre-week analysis looking at the dollar, pound, and euro as per usual. Got a new month, so obviously we had NFP last Thursday just gone, and that has obviously given us a little bit of direction and narrative to play into our trading over the coming weeks. So starting on the daily, I know I typically start on the 4 hourly, but I thought just for reference on where price is and what it looks like. For the daily, we're actually coming into a very nice position on DXY. So clearly over the last week, price had been pushing to the downside, essentially retracing from this bullish leg, which originated from this swing low to this swing high. And we're essentially waiting for a retracement to then continue going bullish. So inside this swing, let's change this to premium discount so we can see. We do have some quite nice points of interest in the form of this fair value gap, which we would like to see price come and at least retest. We could see it get filled because we have an order block here as well, although it is a little bit of an indecision candle. So whether or not we see that yet to be seen. If you want to mark out the whole move for the order block, then we can say it'd be like this as well. So for me, I'm just going to mark out this fair value gap as this point of interest for me. It is clearly in the discount of the bullish swing. And I'm going to be waiting to see what happens over the next few days to see if we get to that region or if we basically push away as is. So as you can see, we're currently holding this fair value gap as well on the daily. So whether or not that gets respected, yet to be seen. We have tapped on the 50% retracement. So is it enough to go higher? Like I said, yet to be seen. If we look to the left, these levels up here, which price had previously respected, also align with that 50%. So those that are looking to get in aggressively from that kind of bounce play region it's probably why we're seeing initial bullish pressure from there, at least in at the moment. So 4 hourly, 4 hourly is clearly still pushing to the upside. So we have got obviously a region of where price seems to be not giving a clear direction as such in terms of yes, we are moving down in this leg. However, in terms of strong regions or strong levels in the market of strong highs and lows, sorry, um, this is the strongest low, and it has failed to close below that in the 4 hour or it's just closed here actually. If I draw a line from this low across, you see that it did actually just about close right here. So, okay, so 4 hourly wise, we are actually a little bit more bearish, which means we can play into the retracement game, into retracement narrative, if that is what price wants to continue showing us. So, our swing points are going to be from the highest point here. We can mark that up as so, and you can see that in this swing, we have got a point of interest just here. There is no other points of interest or kind of unmitigated areas that price can come into apart from this one in this swing. So this is going to be the only area that I'm going to wait to see what price does to look for potential bearish opportunities. If we draw this to the left, not much else to go off really, because it kind of just consolidated there previously. So we did have an accumulation kind of AMD model play out. If I just mark that up for us so you can see it. That was the accumulation. Price then manipulated in here. And then we got the distribution phase like so. Okay, so that's the visualization on what we had over last week, basically. What we could see now is obviously another set of accumulation, so we could get accumulation on Monday. It would be nice if we get that maybe to the upside slightly to then trade lower again, or we get that accumulation lower, Tuesday confirmation to then go higher, and that would align with the daily perspective. Okay, so and obviously this is on DXY, so we'll be looking on the flip side for the euro and for the pound. And the correlation with gold is going to have to be monitored because I think it's not quite correlating in the way it typically did. So just going to be watching that relatively standalone. But that's DXY for now. So long story short, we're waiting for price to come into this region and give us a reaction maybe to the downside. before. We're waiting for price to come into this region, where we can then see a mid to higher time frame confirmation on price aligning with the 4 hourly, but with the daily narrative. Cool. So that is what we are looking at on DXY. On Euro, we might have to make a new. Actually, yeah, we'll look at what we looked at last week as potential. It looks a little bit messy. Maybe it's worth looking at that on the hourly. So on the hourly, we had a couple of scenarios that we could play from. So we had a bearish swing point where we had broken structure of this strong structural low, and then we wanted to see price come up, retest, and then push lower. It did that. It then swept out this internal high, which is where we had a potential opportunity on Thursday. However, news then came in on NFP and basically kind of completely disregarded that idea. However, from a 4 hourly perspective, if I just get rid of this and this, from a 4 hourly perspective, price is remaining bearish and kind of just continuing to accumulate to the upside and has continued to take liquidity, which means orders are essentially continuing to come into the market in the form of this flat body low, flat body high, which was taken, and all of these highs that was also taken in the process. So that essentially means that stop losses have been converted to market orders, limit orders or sell limit orders have now been entered as well. So any big positions that are accumulating, we could basically see a reaction, and we've started to see one off the back end of last week. So this is ultimately telling us that the 4 hourly is still bearish. We've got confirmation in the form of liquidity being generated in the market, and we've started reacting from a key area being this order block right here. Okay, we're going to go over red blocks, fuck it. So we're respecting a level inside the premium, and we're starting to roll over. So very nice setup for price to actually start lining with that. So hourly wise, if we're going to look for our strong highs and strong lows, not an awful lot to go with. The most recent strong low is going to be, oh, it's going to let me click it. Just here, strong high here. So we have a range in between NFP's data low and data high. And if we think about what could look nice, if we're starting to accumulate, so we can see prices failing to push above a high or push above a low, push below a low, we could get a sweep at a high, so the manipulation above previous week high or above the data high, and then get distribution lower, which could look something like this. Oh, if it lets me do it. So new week, sweep, break, retest, continue lower. That would be quite a nice situation. So that's one option. I'll put that there. We could also see price push below these lows, closing to run one, push below these lows, closing on the hourly time frame, come into an area of interest, and then trade again towards our draws on liquidity to the downside, which are remaining to be these lows, and then again these lows even further. It's important to think about as well what happens if that doesn't hold. So if we break above this strong 4 hourly high, what could we see price do next? And essentially, we've got all of these inefficiency up here that I would be expecting price to come to. Losing. So if we break and close, we could see a retest or using this as a flip zone and trading towards this inefficiency up here. Okay, so again, that would be then a bullish scenario that we could trade or use as a narrative to then trade. So that is the Euro USD. If we look on the pound now, we can clear this. Pound is actually in quite a nice position. If you think about where we are in terms of inefficiencies, it looks like we have pretty much filled this one at least. respecting this high. Accumulation up into the zone. Could we see price roll over here? Potentially. I mean, 4 hourly strong low is going to be all the way down here. Unless we make a new high and then we can use it that new low, which would be this one. If we do basically push up, that is. But if we don't, then we have a strong high here. And the last strong low is going to be here. So anything in between could be accumulation and just something to be conscious of. However, on the hourly, we'll be able to get confirmation through this low just here, because this is a strong hourly low. And the reason for that is because it broke structure. So we can have this as our confirmation. So if we go bearish, it means because we would have broken this low. And then we're out of a daily and 4 hourly POI, we'd want to see a break, a retest, or a retracement and a rejection to then trade price lower. What could happen, which is obviously in form of liquidity concepts, we've also got this trendline liquidity here. Well, just something to be conscious of as well. Okay, so on the daily again, you see that really nice clear POI that we're kind of rejecting from right now. We pull that across. You can see it's previously been respected as well. So very nice region to be aware of. Perfect. So again, flip side, like I was saying, if this does not respect and we break and close through and hold, then we can push towards other areas of liquidity, which is going to be aiming towards this strong high. So we can mark this as our buy side liquidity, wherever it is. There we go. So that'll be our buy side liquidity. And if that's taken, then I think it'd be pretty clear that price is going to want to be heading more bullish. So then we've also got this trend line liquidity in here that we could then look to target if price continues pushing upwards. Cool. Perfect. So as of right now, obviously on the hourly we are bullish. Potential narrative is suggesting that we could go bearish, but that will be determined or not whether or not we break this low. In terms of points of interest in the meantime, we have got this order block in here, internal range liquidity in here. We can mark that with a down sign or dollar sign, whatever. So if we are to hold this level and push above weekly highs, we could tap in, sweep liquidity, and then target previous week high. That would be the synopsis or the conclusion for current price action. Would simply be for price to react to this level and hold this low if it is going to continue bullish. If it's not going to continue bullish, then we would expect price to break, close, use it as a point of interest, and then trade away from it. Cool. And now finally on gold. Again, starting on the 4 hourly, you can see price has been retracing real hard. Again, very clearly a bear market at the moment for gold. If we look at our high time frame swing points, we've now come into the premium of the 4 hourly swing. We are holding this point of interest being this doji here basically, and we've been filling inefficiencies in the way. So would we see price come higher? Potentially. Potentially we have got areas that it could come into, but I'll be looking to short from that simply because gold has just been selling off. So depending on how we open up, we could see the market just kind of dump basically, and we're going to be looking at price coming all the way to these lows, given that ultimately we're bearish. So if that holds, then cool. Hourly will look like, obviously hourly is bullish right now. However, strong lows are, pardon me, strong lows are there and there. So in order to go bearish on the hourly, we're going to want to see this get broken. And until then, essentially we're bullish, but we're currently holding this key level. So just being conscious that we're holding this level, could go higher. If we do get something where this becomes a new strong low, because this high gets taken out, and then we get a pattern like so, break, retest, we could get that as well, because this would be previous week high, and that would be a major piece of liquidity taken out, a confirmation of going lower, a rejection of previous structural highs, and then we would get entry confirmation potentially to go lower, and that would again align with 4 hourly, daily, and so on. Cool. And again, if that doesn't hold, basically, then we could see price. I'd be looking to trade price like this, but straight up into this next point of interest, because the hourly is very clearly bullish. If we respect this level and we can be in a area of discount, then there's no reason to not take that trade, in my opinion, given we get the confirmation to do so. So that is basically the outlook as is. High time frame bearish on gold, but currently potentially some really good long opportunities when we look into that. Narrative wise, we have got a really nice looking chart on gold, in my opinion, some clear areas to trade to and away from, and clearly a trending market on multiple time frames. So happy days there. Just to confirm again on euro, currently bearish on the higher time frame. Again, hourly is currently bullish. However, key areas in the market to be aware of. Again, similar to GU, we do have POIs that we could respect and go higher from. So it would be like here to be aware of. Then we can trade towards previous week high. That would align with the hourly. High time frame narrative does suit a sell side confirmation pending, basically. And again, same for GU. Basically waiting for a potential switch in trend. However, currently using the trend as our friend. And if we get a long opportunity from this point of interest, then great. If not, fine. Great. So doesn't look like there's any questions today. If you do have any questions, ping them over. And students, if you need to book any calls in, do so. And I hope you will have a very good trading week. Appreciate it, guys. See you.